still on that 5 a.m. bullshit. But it was Saturday, so I pushed it to 5:30. Does that make any difference at all? Probably not. Dance party is essential to waking yourself up when your body still wants to be in bed. Today, my friends are coming over in the afternoon, so I wanted to get the most out of my morning. I took Lee and Milo on a coffee date to Starbucks around 8:30, and let me tell you, that is the time to go to Starbucks. It was so quiet and calm, just super chill. We got a little walk in as well, which I've been struggling with getting back into recently, so, you know, baby steps. But when coffee is the reward, I can motivate myself to get moving, clearly. I did take back Ella some breakfast and a frappuccino, but I also decided to try a cold brew. I immediately remembered I had tried a cold brew before, but I did not enjoy it. So I have not been in the shed since Christmas. I've just not been in the mood to entertain, but I've got some friends coming around this afternoon. I kind of thought we would sit outside in the garden. I thought I'll make some cocktails, I'll make some punch, it'll be really nice. It is so miserable. It's been rainy and cold. I've been waiting and thinking maybe it'll still be fine. Everything is wet. I put everything out the other day and then it rained and I was like, why? And so now all of the cushions outside are wet because I put them out too early and I thought it was going to be fine, but it rained. And I have to sort out this room. The worst part is the fridge. I can't show you inside this fridge. It's empty. There's nothing in it, but obviously at some point it has had juice, that kind of stuff in it because it's a drinks fridge. And although it's been empty since Christmas, and I thought that would be fine, we switched off all the power to the shed, energy crisis, and it's like a health hazard. Who knew an empty but clearly unclean fridge could grow mold? I never even thought about it, but it must just have like, there just must have been some residue of like some lemons or limes or something in there. And yeah, not a fun time. So that should probably be job one. My mum buys the maddest presents and I aspire to be that grandma when my kids have kids. She got them this floor piano at Christmas and I actually forgot it was in that. I forgot it existed at all. So I rolled it up and put it behind the sofa. But would someone please remind me that it's there, because I will, it's like object permanence, out of sight, out of mind completely. Once the shed was somewhat clean and tidy, I wanted to start on cocktail prep. I usually make my own simple syrup, you can buy it. It's equal parts sugar to boiling water, incredibly easy. I left it to dissolve a little bit while I had a quick lunch. Imperative not to skimp on carbs if you're planning on drinking, if you ask me. I poured the syrup into a bottle. This is just an old bottle that I had lying around in the shed. Obviously cleaned it out first. Then I started on the lemons. This is a task. You don't get as much juice from lemons as I'd like, so I've picked up some tips from forums over the years, and there are a couple that are decent. First of all, roll the lemon on the counter before you cut and squeeze. That definitely does something to kind of soften everything up and you get more juice out of the fruit that way. Also, this is a bit random, but I think it worked pretty well, and I've done it once before as well. I put all the carcasses in a jug with a little bit of water and I let them sit for a while I was doing other things. Then I squeezed them all down as much as possible, and eventually, again, I left them as long as possible, strained them, and you do get a little bit of extra juice that is still tasty. Obviously wash the lemons before you do this, goes without saying, but someone will. And there's really no substitute for fresh juice. So if you've only had the stuff that you can buy on the shelf in the bottle, treat yourself. You will not believe the difference and you'll never want to go back. Lastly, I made a lemon sugar for the rim of the glass, you know, like you salt the glass for a margarita. I screwed this up a little bit because I usually zest the lemon first, but I forgot all about it, binned most of the lemons, and I only had one available, plus it was a little bit wet, it was a whole thing. So I was running low on sugar as well, but it was what it was. It was a slightly lemony bit of sugar, but a good amount of zest and a good amount of sugar make all the difference, and they smell amazing while you're drinking the drink. Okay, I've got about 9 minutes to spare before people come round and I'm pretty much done. I mean, it's tidy, it's just my closest friends. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect.
it's tidy, it's clean. The fridge is no longer a health hazard. Although I will bear that in mind. Next time, I think I'm gonna have to do a full deep clean. Like, I've put juice in there now, and even though I'd taken everything out, I just didn't think, you know, I was not in a good place around Christmas anyway. This time, I will clean the full thing out before I turn off the power to the shed, because would not like a repeat of that. Also, got my fruity ice, which is always useful, especially because I put it in the blender. This blender, by the way, is from my grandma's house. She'd never used it. It is the best blender in the entire world. It's very much a case of like, they don't make them like they used to. If I had a plastic blender now, like a brand new plastic blender, there's no way it could crush ice. That can do amazing, amazing things. I am gonna show you, when my friends arrive, how I make my very favourite cocktail.
The sun came out moments before the girls showed up, although it did rain again later because, you know, England, especially on a bank holiday weekend. So here's the spring garden. It's starting its bloom. If you like the idea of having a proper garden with flowers, but you don't think you've got a green thumb, let me tell you, people make it out to be harder than it is. I'm going to talk about that in another video, but it is really, really nice to sit outside and have actual flowers. And I swear to you, it is not that difficult to keep up. Back in the shed, which I realise some people might call a summer house, but it makes me feel really pretentious. I know it's not a shed, but it's still a shed in the garden that I've DIY'd into a bar. So when the roof leaks, I like to remind people we're still outside. I got this unit from my grandma's garage. I remember it being in her kitchen when I was little, so I couldn't see it go to the tip. I tiled the top and I use it to store glasses. But how fantastic is this pull-out counter space? Just amazing. I couldn't see it go to waste. I just couldn't. Okay. Onto the cocktail, my all-time favourite alcoholic drink, and it isn't something on the menu in the UK. I've never seen it somewhere that I can actually order, and whenever I've spoken to a bartender about it, they're like, if you go somewhere really nice, they'll just make you whatever if you give them the ingredients, but it's very rare. I first had it in LA. Talk about feeling pretentious to talk about something. But my friend Molly told me that I had to try a lemon drop. She'd had one when I think said she was in Seattle. When I ordered it, the waitress pulled a face and explained it was like what college girls drank. She made it sound like I was ordering an Alco Pop, but I went with it because Molly told me, and it is the most delicious thing I've ever tasted. When we were in lockdown, I decided to recreate it. I thought I would have kind of like a cocktail hour. You may remember I shared a lot about that at the time. And what I'm sharing is like an amalgamation of recipes that I found online that's become like my signature cocktail that I make. Officially, I think it should be 2 measures of vodka to 1 measure of Cointreau or triple sec, which is an orange liqueur, and 1 measure of lemon juice. But I do almost equal parts of everything and then throw in a simple syrup to sweeten it up a little bit. It's strong and it's quite tart. I like a sour drink, but that's where the sugar rim comes in, because you're like drinking around the glass and then you get that sweet and sour at the same time. And you can also always like add more syrup to taste. They're just the basic ingredients, so you can kind of, you know, go forth and play around with the ratios to find your ideal formula. But that's also kind of the beauty, because you can adjust it for each of your guests depending on how they like it. I know Stacey that was there on Saturday, she prefers a sweet drink, so I put a little bit more sugar in hers. Obviously shaken over ice. If you are not a cocktail maker, usually, ice is really, really important. It doesn't just chill the drink, it also dilutes it a little bit. And with any kind of martini, that is even more essential, because there's really not a lot besides alcohol in that glass. It is 6:30. I've cleaned up the bar. I've put the dishwasher on with all of our glasses and jugs and all of the many cocktail making paraphernalias. I've made Lee a drink, I've made myself another drink. Best possible timing for a gathering. Now I'm gonna go and sit on the sofa and watch TV and probably send memes and links to my friends that just left me to tell them things that I would like them to watch so that we can discuss them next time.